excited, you guys, because Jay is the real deal. He's so fun, he's so incredible, and he has offered to share with you all. And I'll kind of tell you really briefly how we met, and then I'm gonna let him do his presentation. Jay, let me give you security. We'll have time for Q&A as always. If you'll put your questions in the chat, I'll let you read them. And Fathom will take notes, so I'll post the notes because I know how you friends are. But Jay and I met actually on Upwork. You know, I feel about Upwork, and he is the Google Ads expert for my big client who I'm a fractional COO for. You guys have heard me talk about him probably, Steven, the one with the real estate company. And so just been super impressed with him, his professionalism, his knowledge, the way he's managed Steven's ads. He's done an incredible job. And so when you guys said, hey, Meg, I need Google AdWords advice, I was like, I got the guy. And sure enough, he's ranked 1 to 3% out of 160 million people on Upwork, which is quite an accomplishment. Certified in Google AdWords, certified in LinkedIn ads, 15 years experience with lead gen, and alumni of Columbia University in New York City, a New York City man. I don't know that we have any of our New York City agencies on. No, but maybe they'll watch the replay. We do love New York, Jay. It's a fun place.
Indeed it is.
Did I forget anything? What did I forget?
Coffee addicts. Besides that,
coffee addicts. And the best part, ladies, if you don't remember me saying, he lives on a cruise ship. Right now he's in the DR, but you're on a cruise ship, what, 11 months out of the year? Is that right? 10 months?
8 months out of the year, yeah. So I got 3 months break, and then I'll be back in Europe for 5 straight months on a cruise ship. So.
I mean, talk about the ultimate freedom, right, ladies? So we're going to let him have it. I'm going to unpin myself. Let me record on the computer. And then, Jay, you should be able to share, yes?
I'm going to do that now.
Great.
Let's see here. I'm going to share the entire screen. That way we just see anything I click on. Is that good? Can you see? I think we can.
Yes, thank you. So cute.
So I didn't know that Megan was going to introduce me. So she covered pretty much all my stats in terms of getting a chance to understand my experience. In preparation for this, my initial expectation was that I was going to come in and make a technical presentation about Google Ads. But I asked a few questions of a few people and realized that I should step back a little bit and maybe not do the technical analysis or assessment presentation, and instead really walk people through what a marketing funnel is, what a lead is. Like, someone didn't know what a lead was, and I was like, okay, I didn't even think of that. So let me back up, and I'm just going to walk from the beginning of understanding what a lead is to understanding why and how a lead gen marketing funnel can really help you scale your business. And in order to do that, because after talking to people, I realized I probably should create visuals. So I actually took the time and designed a landing page, which is what you're looking at, so you can actually see what a lead generation marketing landing page might look like for your agency. And I don't know, we can share the links. You can have these links, by the way. You can probably see them. I don't know if you can see my full screen, but if you can't, maybe Megan and myself can post them into the comments or the post comments. But this is actually what a landing page looks like, and I'll walk you through what it is and why it's different from a website, so on and so forth. So starting out, leads. What are leads? Basically, anytime you get contact information for a person who's looking for your service, right? So if they want to hire you for your product or service, then they're a lead. And then you nurture leads to generate sales, right? So when you get prospects, essentially you're probably familiar with that term, and then you use phone calls, emails, and other tools to build relationships, essentially, and nurture those people until they become paying clients. So the purpose of lead generation marketing funnels is A, you need a landing page. B, you need a lead source or a traffic source. C, you need a mechanism to capture that lead, which is preceded by an offer that actually is so strong that the people won't say no, that people feel the need to work with you, or they feel silly, right? Your offer really needs to be so good, they feel silly if they say no. Put that into your landing page with a lead capture form, and then nurture them through whatever your sales process is going to be, whether that be an email automation, text message automation, phone calls, in-person meetings, whatever. Nurture those leads and you make a ton of money. I live traveling. I didn't get to myself, but I haven't stopped traveling for almost 4 years. I spent like 1 week in the United States last year. I went to, I think, 25 to 30 countries last year. And I mean, I'm booked the same way this year. Like, I make more money than 99% of people in the world. And I do it sitting in like a living room. I'm just in a random Airbnb right now in the Dominican Republic. I do it sitting in the living room with one other person on my team. So me and one other person. The point is, if you have a lot of leads, it's hard not to make money. Like, if the leads are real, and remember, I define leads, people define them differently. Some people say any contact, that any person you have a phone number for is a lead. I disagree. I think a lead is a person, you have their contact details, but they're interested in your service, right? So when I say if you have a lot of leads, it's not just random people. It's people who are specifically interested in your product or your service. If you have a lot of those, it's very difficult not to make a lot of money, not to be successful. You still have to sell. I'm not saying there are other variables that are involved, but that's where email automation and lead nurturing come into play. So that all being said, I want to talk about the platforms because that's the top of a funnel, right? So when you're going to do marketing for your business, the first question is, where do you need to market? This originally was just going to be a presentation about Google, making a presumption that you already knew that Google was a good place for you to market. But again, I talked to a few people and realized that's not a safe assumption. So let's just quickly talk about the differences between Facebook, Google, and LinkedIn, right? So that you can decide what platform makes the most sense for you. And I hope you can't hear my background noise. I'm too close to a city street. But anyway, lots of horns honking. Um, Facebook, I'll start there. Facebook/Instagram is both under the Meta umbrella. Facebook is a great platform if you want high volume, low quality, and if you have a longer term sales strategy in place. So in other words, you're going to be doing a lot of email marketing and lead nurturing. Facebook is great. The reason for that is that Facebook is what's called a disruptive platform, disruptive advertising. A person's there looking at their feed. They're scrolling through, they're looking at pictures of their family and their friends, or whatever the case may be, and then an ad pops up and disrupts what they were doing. So they're not actually searching for it actively. The Facebook does have search functionality, but you're literally talking about 2% of the net volume of impressions that you get when you run ads campaigns for people actually searching. It's primarily a disruptive platform. And as such, I might be interested in hiring a nanny. By the way, I had a full-time nanny back when I was stable, like in terms of stationary living in one place. I had a full-time nanny as well. So you might be interested in your service, but not necessarily right now. They might decide that they're thinking about a nanny, but they're going to make that decision for actually making the purchase or the investment 6 months down the road. And as such, you don't get fast results, generally speaking, in terms of sales revenue. I know a lot of people crushing it on Facebook, but it's primarily high volume, low cost, low quality. When I'm talking about the nature of leads on Facebook, okay, so just keep that in mind. High volume. If you have a sales team, if a client comes to you and says, "I have a sales team, I need to fill the pipeline," I'm thinking Facebook. High volume, right? Lots of leads. If a client says to me, "I have a 1-year drip email marketing campaign, I just need to build an email list," Facebook, Instagram, great platform. Client comes to me and says, "I need leads that I can get sales in the next 30 to 90 days." I'm not thinking Facebook, right? So that's the way you need to approach it as well. Now, LinkedIn. I wasn't even going to talk about LinkedIn, but I looked at some of the websites from the people in this audience and realized that some of you actually do nanny services for corporations. And as such, I need to talk about LinkedIn because LinkedIn is primarily a B2B platform. So business to business. So in case I acronyms out at any point, just wave or something. I can see you. I can't hear you, but I can see you. So it's a B2B platform. And the reason for that is the targeting mechanisms in LinkedIn are designed around people's careers. So I can go into LinkedIn if I build out a campaign and say, I only want people who work in HR. I only want people who work in HR for companies that have 10 to 50 employees and $1 million plus in revenue. And those companies need to be located in Los Angeles, California. I also want to target people, these HR people, but I want these HR people to have been in their position, seniority, for at least 10 years, 10 plus years. So I can do granular targeting. I, meaning you, meaning we, meaning anyone, can do granular targeting based on people's careers and professional lives. That's why LinkedIn becomes a great platform for B2B. As far as the lead nature, LinkedIn is a higher cost, higher value, medium volume platform. So remember, Facebook had high volume, low cost, and low quality. LinkedIn is going to have medium volume, really it's just budget based, but high cost and high value. And it's B2B primarily. So if you're targeting corporations or people based on their job titles and things of this nature, it's an amazing platform for that, for lead generation. Google is a platform that works for almost anybody. Google is a high intent platform in the sense that it's based on keywords primarily. Right? It's based on keywords. There's also more advanced targeting like affinity and in-market segments and things of this nature. But for simplicity's sake, it's primarily based on keywords. A person's actually typing something in physically. So unlike Facebook, where it's a disruptive platform, where they're doing something else, just having fun, and your ad appears in front of them, and they say, "Oh, I'm interested," kinda, and they fill out the form. Google is, I need a nanny in Houston, Texas, right? Hire a nanny in Houston, Texas. Hire a nanny in Dallas, whatever the case may be. And as such, that person has what's called high intent. They're interested and in the market right now. As such, they're a higher quality lead. They're more likely to make a purchase decision quickly. And that's why Google works for most people. It's also can be used for B2B and B2C, because both businesses, people working, and just people sitting at home are searching for keywords. And so it's not just based on their professional profiles. Right? You can do targeting there based on where they live, how much money they make, are they parents, what's their income bracket, what keyword terms are they searching, what devices are they using, what time of day do you want to be marketing, all sorts of things. Not business data like LinkedIn, personal demographic profiles essentially in Google. And it makes it an amazing platform because the combination of personal profiling and the intent, the high intent, actively searching, makes them medium volume. Again, that's just based on your budget. High cost and high quality. Remember, so again, if I were going to make anything medium cost, I would say Google's medium cost and high quality, whereas LinkedIn is slightly higher, generally speaking. So for tiered sake, low cost Facebook, medium cost Google, high cost LinkedIn, and the latter two are high quality, which is really what's important if you're a smaller agency and you don't have a sales team and you don't have a 1 year long email drip marketing sequence. So I hope, I don't know if I lost anybody or should I stop for questions? Because I probably said a bunch. No? Okay. Okay, I see people shaking.
You're doing a great job. Maryland did have one quick question that I think I want to go ahead and address. That's funny, Marilyn, do you want to ask, back when you're showing this landing page, you're still showing it, but Marilyn had a question. I'd love for you to explain the differences for her. Marilyn, you want to come off mute and ask, love?
Yeah, I just wanted to know if the first slide you showed for your landing page was the same as what I'm hearing termed as a splash page.
So technically speaking, yes. Some people are going to call it a splash page. Other people are going to call it a landing page. What's important, and I'm about to dive into the landing page, what's really important is the elements in the landing page. And so actually, literally, you're segueing right into where I was going anyway. So now that we understand the platforms, let me walk you through what this splash page or landing page is and why it's different from a normal website page. The very first thing you're going to see is there's no navigation in the menu. There's only the logo. There's no home and about us and contact us, no blog or any of that. And the reason is a landing page is designed around a single purpose: capture a lead. And what you're trying to do is force people to make a decision. They're either going to fill out the form or take whatever the call to action is, the CTA, or they're going to leave. That's the options that you're giving people, generally speaking. There are some slight exceptions, is that the logo will typically link back to the homepage of your website if they click on the logo, and you need to put a privacy policy link into the footer of your landing page. So those are the two ways that people can leave your landing page, generally speaking, without having taken the CTA, or they can just exit. But that is designed that way because you get a higher engagement rate when people don't have the opportunity to be distracted, right? Now going into the landing page, there's a lot of little minutia in the actual structure of a landing page that you want to think about. So when we look at the pictures, you'll almost always notice what I use is pictures that are designed to trigger emotion. People make decisions based on emotion. You want to get someone, a stranger, to buy from you, they need to feel good about you. It's really important. So you'll notice it's deliberate that I pick pictures of cute babies looking straight at you and smiling. The energy is typically positive. So you're going to see lots of smiles in anything that that I design, and that's because you get higher engagement. So as you scroll through, do they have a link, by the way? Do you have the capacity to see this page, you guys? You do? Okay, perfect. Okay, good. Yeah, so as you scroll through,
Sorry, they have the link and they can see it on the screen. You're good.
Okay, awesome. So you scroll through imagery needs to be positive. You typically want people looking straight at you and just smiling. So you see a lot of that. Obviously, your color schemes are going to be based upon your brand. Within the content of the landing page, you need to have the call to action. So whenever I say call to action, I'm referring to the button. Whatever you're trying to get people to do, that call to action should be visible above the fold. What that means is whatever can be seen on the page without scrolling down, your call to action, the very first version of it, iteration of it, should be visible above the fold. Above that point, I never even have to scroll. If I go to this landing page and I don't do anything else, I know what the offer is, and I have the opportunity to engage with the call to action if I so choose. Right? That's really important. Now we're going to take this call to action and we're going to repeat it. It should be present on the page at least 3 times in your landing page. You're giving them 3 opportunities, and you can change the wording slightly, even though it's the same CTA, call to action, but it should be present at least 3 times. As we go through the page, some landing pages are going to be single column, and other landing pages are going to be like this, where you see 2 columns. Essentially, the age bracket of your target audience determines how you should structure your page. So if your audience is older, make it single column. It needs to be simpler. Older people will engage with a simpler format at a higher rate, whereas if your audience is very young, don't make it single column because they will get bored and leave and consider it simple, which it is deliberately, but they'll consider it simple and leave. So understanding the age bracket of your target audience is important. What I'll typically do in a net agency is do a combination. You'll see that this is 2 column section, but we'll see 1 column section as well, because your audience, I'm guessing, is roughly middle age, right? So young middle age. And thus, both of these will have some degree of appeal. You have to do split testing to observe where you get your highest conversion rates. This landing page is a semi-short format landing page. And when I say short format, obviously what it means is that the page itself is not long. There's not a lot of sections. This is what's going to be a high volume landing page. If my objective is to get you a lot of leads, still keeping in mind, by the way, for an agency, Google and LinkedIn would be where we want to focus. Most likely, you're most likely not going to be focusing on Facebook unless you are really oriented towards list building and doing long-term email marketing. So assuming that the objective really is, I have a 30 to 90-day window and I want to get leads that I can convert, assuming that that's the objective, because that typically is for small businesses, then this is structured as a high volume within the high quality mediums of Google or LinkedIn, right? And the reason that it's high volume is because it's designed, it has a more simple design. If I wanted a high quality lead, which a lot of clients will come to you and say, Jay, I don't want high volume, I want high quality. What you do is you put more informational sections into your landing page. The more information you give, the more detailed you are, the more you weed out people, because they can sit there and screen themselves. Like, okay, what are the requirements to hire a nanny? Well, you must pay X amount, a minimum of X amount dollars per year or per month, or whatever the case may be. If I state that, people who don't have that budget leave. They weed themselves out, right? So you increase the quality by adding more information. You can also adjust the quality by adjusting the form. Right? So I click the button and made the form pop up. Here, this is also a volume-based form, meaning it has less form fields. It's very simple to fill out, and that's intended to make it lower barrier for a person to finish filling out the form. I can even strip out last name if I really just, and potentially mobile phone as well. You can get the fewer form fields that we add, the more likely a person is to complete it, right? The less committal it is, but also that reduces the quality of the lead. Because if I don't have to be as committed to fill it out, well, lower quality people are going to complete the form. Right? So you have to think about what your objectives are. Do you want higher quality leads? Okay, well, what should I add in here? Are you looking for a full-time nanny or babysitting services, right? You can just add more form fields that will reduce the number of leads you get and increase the quality of the people who actually are filling it out. Also, this is critical. From testing, I've observed that pop-up forms, like what I showed you, get a higher conversion rate than forms that are just built into the page. In order to see the form, I had to show intent. I had to actually click the button in order to even see the form. And thus I end up with people who have shown intent and have a higher intent of filling it out and actually do fill it out at a higher rate. So if you only have the option of doing one or the other, I found that pop-up forms actually convert better than just having this form built into the page where you can see it without doing anything. The highest converting scenario, though, is both. So if you have a landing page that permits it, put one section where you have the form visible, and then the rest will be pop-up forms, generally speaking. I built this one fast and I didn't put that in there, but I would want it in there, just so you know. So we've gone through it. There's no navigation in the header, no navigation in the footer. Your call to action is above the fold. Your call to action typically wants to focus on pop-ups. Pictures are happy and focused, are looking straightforward, trying to generate positive energy. And then obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, your title lines are 80%. 80% of people only read the title lines, right? So whatever you say here in your main title lines is going to be what determines the success of the content sections of your page. So keep that in mind. You really want to make an offer that has strong appeal to your target audience. So in this case, what I said is try our nanny for 1 day for free. I don't know if that's permissible, if you guys like that or you don't like that, but it will work. And so the way I look at this is this. Okay, the nanny's not going to work for free. I've got to pay her $15 an hour for 8 hours. It's going to cost me $120. So if I factor $120 into my marketing budget and I say I make $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 per conversion, it costs me $120 to pay the nanny for a 1-day free trial. If she's good or he's good in person, the conversion rates and actually getting people to sign contracts is going to go way up dramatically, right? Because it's an emotional game. Just like the pictures, people care about people. And if you have a nanny that comes into the home and works for a day, it's a lot harder to say no. And so you're trying to create an offer that has hooks that really grabs people. So it costs you $120 because you pay the nanny. It costs you an amount for the lead, I don't know, $35. And then it costs you an amount for your ads manager. So you factor that in and say, okay, I get $3,000 on the conversion. How many 1-day trials do I need to give away to get a signed contract? And that tells you whether or not you're profitable. If you have to give away 5 and it's costing you $200 per, you spent $1,000 to make $3,000 or whatever the case may be. So you have to run your numbers. I don't know your numbers. That was all hypothetical. You know better than I do. But the point is, if you can make an offer that's hard to say no to, and then put that in front of the right audience. I didn't tell you the stats, but marketing is, when you hire a marketing company, almost everybody's like, design, design, design. I want this to match my brand. I don't like this font. Edit this content. There's a grammatical typo, right? 60% of your results, this is from a survey that tested 100 years of marketing. 60% of your results comes from who you give your place your advertising in front of, right? So if you're targeting 13-year-old kids with your hire a nanny ads, you're not going to get conversions. 60% of the results comes from your audience targeting. 30% of your results comes from your offer. 90% of the results are sending the right thing to the right people. 10% is the ads and the verbiage and all that other stuff. You get people, most people spend 60% of their time on the design. That's not where you want to be. I mean, it's cool to have beautiful designs, don't get me wrong. But I have seen the ugliest, crappiest funnels make millions of dollars. To the point where I'm insulted. Like, you're making millions off of this. I've seen it, right? But it's because they send that offer. It's like, okay, I have an example in my head. The guy had there were spelling errors. He was an AC service company. And I got hired to build his funnels out. I looked at his existing funnel. It was a blank white page, picture of him smiling, standing next to an AC. Text me, I have the best prices. And he showed his prices, and his prices were the best prices. Text me, I'll be there in 24 hours. His offer was amazing. He had the best price. He showed his prices. He proved it right in front of me. No one had better prices than him. Text was spelled TXT. I was so offended. Like, it was terrible, but he was crushing it because he sent that. We sent the ads to homeowners, right? Homeowners in locally targeted geographics, and said best prices on AC. Text me, I'll be there within 24 hours. We'll be done in 24 hours. If you make an offer that is irresistible and you give it to the right person, you're gonna make money. That's just how it works. That's what a funnel literally is. Traffic means targeting the right people and bringing them to your landing page. The landing page presents the offer. You capture the lead, you close the sale. So,
wow. Okay, give me just a second, Jay, because that was so much incredible stuff.
Okay.
I mean, like, I think I've heard you share this before with Steven, and even at that point, I was like, wait, tell me again, right? Write it all down. So we have a couple of questions that have come in, and then ladies, I want you to ask clarifying. Marilyn says it was like a waterfall of knowledge. Yes. So I made a comment because I know how you guys feel about social media. Who was surprised that he said we should be marketing on Google and LinkedIn, not social media? Was anyone else surprised? Hands raising. Yes, you were, Marilyn. Yeah.
Can I respond?
And then Marilyn, you had a question about the conversion. I think he was talking about social media. Jay, were you saying Instagram and Facebook are only beneficial if you're looking for a 60 to 90-day conversion? Is that right?
No, so we'll back up. So remember the context. I'm talking about paid ads. Social media also has social media or organic content marketing, which is an entirely different thing. So make sure we have the proper context. Paid ads running on Facebook/Instagram tend to generate high volume. You will get a ton of people that enter. It's just that they tend not to convert at the rates that the people on Google or LinkedIn will convert, right? So when I say high volume, lower cost, you get those leads at a lower cost as well, but they're lower quality because of the nature of the advertisements. You're disrupting whatever they're doing, and thus they're not necessarily. So it's just two scenarios. Jay is here typing in hire a nanny near me, versus Jay is looking at top 10 cities to visit. And then your ad appears in front of me. Oh, for nannies. I'm thinking about that. Does she have to travel with me? And okay, I'm gonna take this information and I'll get back to it. That's what happens now. 6 months later, I'm typing in Google, hire a nanny near me. So does that make sense? So you captured me as a lead 6 months earlier when I knew it was something interesting to me, but I wasn't ready yet. So if you're dripping emails to me over the course of those 6 months, then I might not type that Google search and you can convert me. But you converted me 6 months later. Whereas if I'm typing Google now, it's because I need it now, and I'm much more likely to convert in the next 30-day window, right? So that's what happens. You get lower quality and lower cost and high volume when you do Facebook because of the nature of the platform, the ads on the platform. I hope that makes sense.
It does. It does.
Perfect.
Shayna, do you want to ask your question, dear?
Yeah, Jay, so when you are talking about older people single column landing page versus younger people dual column, how old are we talking?
So when I say older, I'm talking 55 plus, right? Generally speaking, if you're targeting 55 plus, then you really want to simplify your content. You're not targeting teenagers now, so we don't have to worry about that. You can have lots of motion and things of that nature when you're targeting really young sub 25 audiences. Your audience most likely is perfectly fine with something like this structure right here. I don't think you're gonna have any problems in that regard. So what makes the decision for me in terms of the complexity of the page is your desire for volume versus quality, right? So I will add more information. I actually took an informational section out of this page when I was designing it. I built it in and then took it out. I said, I probably don't want to go too heavy on the quality angle for this particular audience initially, because I'd want to collect data, right? So I want to get more leads initially and then observe where the conversions occur and then revamp the landing page in an iteration is typically what I want to do. So I went for me is sort of mid-range. It's not completely volume-based because it has a content section, and obviously you could actually put more content. I just threw some basic content in there, right? But you could put more additional information. But it only has one content section, and it's really basically to the point, right? We're just talking about the benefits to the target audience and giving them an offer that I presume when I was hiring a nanny, the real issue was you go through all these questions in your head, all these things you want to ask, but you have to schedule these interviews, and anyone can be good in an interview. It's not true that anyone is good in an interview. There's lots of people who are terrible in interviews, but there are plenty of people who are good at interviews but don't do a wonderful job or don't have the right chemistry with you, your family, or whatever the case may be. So you hire people and pay them for a week, or in my case, right, and then see how it goes with the kids, how it goes with the family. So are they punctual, so on and so forth. And thus, I said to myself, what kind of offer could we make that will probably work within your industry? And I figured this would do it. I honestly think that you will drive high conversion rates with an offer of this nature. And thus, that's why I put it into the landing page. But you can obviously know your business. You have to spend time really thinking about what hooky, what offer can I, that just sticks to people? What offer can I make that really just draws people in? And you might have to do testing, but it's 30% of the game. Like if you get your targeting right and you get your offer right, you're going to win. I mean, you still have to do sales.
And this
feel like I need to say that.
This whole page that you did here, like when you scroll up and we have all of this different, that whole thing is one landing page. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
So I designed this in Canva. This is just a flyer basically that I embedded, that I quickly designed in Canva. It's hyperlinked to the next section in the landing page. I didn't even get into that yet, by the way. So if I fill this out, we're talking about lead generation funnels. Oh, this is recorded, but not my real number. My real number just got shown in a recording.
Nobody's gonna call you. It's a good group of people.
No, not you. I'm thinking about YouTube a year from now.
We don't put this on YouTube. We only put it in Podia.
Oh, because we include me because I was going to put it on YouTube.
You're so funny. Well, then you can edit it out. Edit out the number.
No worries. So when they fill out the form, that was a landing page previously, but we're talking about lead generation marketing funnels, right? So the funnel is you build a landing page, and that landing page has to encompass a really powerful special offer to your target audience with a lead capture mechanism. Then you have to set up your traffic generation. You can generate traffic organically from social media. You can do paid ads on Facebook, Instagram, Google, LinkedIn, TikTok, whatever suits you, right? You just need to drive traffic, relevant traffic from the proper target audience to your landing page. Once they fill out the form and you've captured the lead, after that, you still want to nurture them. So you fill out the form, that will be set up in a proper funnel to trigger an automated email, right? They receive an email for whatever the offer was or whatever the next step is in your offer sequence, and it should also trigger at least 3 communications. If you're talking about a proper funnel, in terms of a sales sequences should be 3 to 7 emails long, right? Or shouldn't say emails. I focus on emails, but you might want to incorporate text messages. You might have a phone call sales process as well. And so you just want to interact with that person 7 times on the high end, 3 times on the low end, right? So 5 times or more, generally speaking, you're going to get most of your conversions. That's the sales sequence, and the sales sequence is separate from a nurturing educational sequence, by the way. So what will typically happen, and I didn't have a presentation ready for you for this. My apologies. Let me see if I can.
You're okay.
See my browser.
That's a really good question, Rhiannon. My goodness. Woo-wee, that was stressful.
I can't get to it. Tell me the question. Tell me the question. But you want to do it.
Yeah. So this might get off track a little bit, but you were talking about it. So I figured I'd ask, how do we safely add a landing page via Canva? Because I tried to do that this week by linking Canva to my website, which disconnected Squarespace from my website, deleting my entire website, and it was unavailable until my lovely designer fixed it for me. So I'm not going to do that again. I'm sure there's a better way to do it.
You don't. So first of all, Canva's website builder is not how you say being recorded. It's not very refined.
Okay.
So at this point, I feel like they're in beta, really. So what happened with what you just described is when you set up a Canva website, they make you repoint your domain. So or set up a senior record or whatever the case may be. And so your website used to point your server. You have a hosting server that has all your files on it, and then you point a domain there to render your website. Well, you pointed your domain to Canva, and so trying to show that landing page, it hid your website, right? So, but you don't, generally speaking. It's just you design inside of Canva. They're amazing. This amazing software for creating designs of any variety, logos, landing pages, logos, flyers, infographics, video clips, reels, whatever suits you. But I would not. I tried, and I will not again be using them for websites.
So I guess, how do you, is it through, I don't know, how do you get your landing page to What
So in Squarespace,
jaytrottermarketing.com/your landing page.
so it depends upon what software you're using to build your website. So I use WordPress and Elementor to build websites. And then so to build a landing page is just like building another page, but then what you're doing is stripping out the header and the footer and changing the nature of the page. In Squarespace, you can do the same thing. You can build a landing page inside of Squarespace. You go in, you design your page inside your Squarespace account, and then you have to use custom code to hide the header and footer. Right? So they're not structured for landing pages per se, but they do have a custom code feature that allows you to embed that and make the footer and header disappear. And then you just design, like this looks like it's a header. It's actually not. It's just a section in the page. A header is where your menu your logo and menu appear across all pages of your website. That's actually removed from this landing page. And I just put another section here, just like this picture section. This is a section that simply has a logo in it. It's not actually a header. Same thing for the footer. This is not actually a website footer. This is just a section with an image and a call to action button, etc. So you design it in Squarespace, and then strip out the header footer.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. I have that code. I don't know where I put it, but I can send you the code if you needed to strip out the header and footer. I did it for Steven because he forced me to use Squarespace.
Sorry. My bad.
All good. It's a learning experience.
Marilyn, how much does it, go ahead, Marilyn. You use Engine Hire.
So I use Engine Hire right now, but I have a web designer who designed my website. I'm currently in the middle of a conundrum working with a VA who works for a company who wants me to do all this bells and whistles with ClickFunnels and, adding all sorts of new programs. So I'm just wondering if I were to have my web designer design a landing page that's stripped out, like you said, because I don't know how to do it in WordPress, which is what my site's built in. What am I looking at range-wise as far as what I could expect to pay somebody to do that?
Obviously, I don't know anything about your web designer. There are web designers who work for $5 an hour. And there are web designers who work for $200 an hour. So
mine's expensive.
Right, exactly. So it's really, I can't tell you that person's pricing. I don't do websites. I ran a web design company for a long time. I started out with a web design company, and I left that industry years ago, just because the nature of the industry is, you're rich one year and poor the next, right? Residual revenue is sort of powerful. So I do web design for marketing clients, right? So, and it's just included, right? So when the client asks me for a website or for landing pages, I don't price them on it because I manage the marketing, so I just include it. But you just look at the hourly rate for that person, and I presume, depending upon their efficiency, that they can build a landing page in 5 to 10 hours. I presume, I don't know, but I would expect that they could. Literally going through the whole process. So that's what I would hope.
Good. That gives me somewhere to look at.
Exactly. Exactly. It's very, people's efficiency in their pricing ranges per hour vary so widely, it's difficult to say. But if you have a specific person in mind, those are the variables. How efficient are they? How many hours they need? And what do they charge per hour?
Yeah, so I'm surprised to hear you say it takes that long, but I don't know anything about web design or building a website or building a page or anything. So I had no idea it took that long. So I thank you for sharing.
If they're using a template, they can obviously do it faster. But if you're sitting there and custom designing a landing page, you can easily spend 10 hours on a landing page if you're putting time in. You can do it fast. If this person built your website, presumably they already have pages from your website. If you like what you have, I haven't seen your website. If you like it and you feel that it's effective, they might be able to do it much quicker. But they also might not want to bill for less than 3 hours of work or 5 hours of work either. So I have no idea. I'm sorry, I can't tell you better.
Well, that's okay. You gave me direction to think about. Thank you.
Of course, my pleasure.
Awesome. Before he moves on, ladies, because I know it's a lot, you have so much knowledge, my friend. What questions do you have about what he's discussed so far? Do you understand that running a Google ad campaign successfully is not just signing up for Google ads, putting a budget and watching what happens, right? He's showing you what you really need to do to make this work is a lot more prep work than you may have originally realized.
Mm-hmm.
Was anybody surprised by that? Did you guys think you can just put money in it like we do in Indeed and watch what happens? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so that's kind of where he's focused in making sure you understand everything that's involved in the process. So Good question, Rhiannon. You're welcome to ask it if you're able.
Sure. What is a rough estimate for cost of a LinkedIn or a Google ad?
So it's not based on the ad. You're going to pay based on the cost per click in your industry, and for the clicks, and then you have to look at the conversion rate, right? So what you do is you go into the keyword tool inside of Google. You go into your Google Ads account, and then there's a section up there's tools, and there's a keyword planner off to the far left in the first column. You can open that keyword planner, and then it'll give you the options, 3 options of what you want to do. If you're trying to get new keyword ideas, or you're trying to get estimates for search volume for keywords, et cetera, et cetera. But just click new keyword ideas, put a few suggestions in, and then after you run it, it'll produce a list of keywords, and it'll show you top of page bid low range, top of page bid high range. And you can look and say, okay, well, in my industry it costs $3 to $15 per click, but a click is not a lead, right? So what percentage of people are actually going to submit their email information to you? And just doing the math, right? So if it's 10% and it costs you $5 per click, then you have to get 10 clicks, which is $50 to get a lead. And then you have your cost per lead. And then after that, you go down and start saying, okay, well, what's my conversion rate on leads to start your true cost, so on and so forth.
Okay.
Did I answer that well? Sometimes I feel like
You did. And then is there like a cap? You can say, okay, once I get to X amount.
Oh yeah, so you set a budget, right? So you go and say, I want to spend X amount per month is my budget. In case in Google, you're going to do it on a per day basis. So I want to spend $100 a day, whatever that random number may be for your particular circumstance. And when you set that budget, the AI is going to spend it based upon the other configurations in your campaign. But the Google policies basically say that they will come within 10%. They're allowed to go 10% over whatever budget that you set. They generally don't do that, but they're technically allowed to do so. You'll generally come in somewhere 10% below or 10% above whatever you set within your budget, but rarely above.
Okay, and I'll ask Marilyn's question too, because it's related, but that was for Google. Is LinkedIn the same process?
Yeah, so it's very similar. You're going to set a budget on any platform. Okay. Whether you're setting the budget daily or you're setting the budget monthly, I shouldn't say any platform, any of the platforms that we've discussed. You're going to set a budget daily or you're going to set a budget monthly, depending on what you're trying to achieve. You can also set, like in Facebook, you can set a lifetime value, right? You can say, I want to spend $5,000 for this campaign, and then stop when we hit that amount. Doesn't matter how long it takes to hit that amount.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the best practice for the daily amount for a Google ad? What do you recommend for testing purposes to kind of on ramp?
Sure. So the budget, this is kind of interesting. It depends upon your objectives, obviously, and your timeline. But what you'll observe when you're setting up Google Ads is that lower budgets generate lower cost leads. Higher budgets generate higher cost leads. Essentially, Google will place you, if you have a massive budget, so sometimes I manage marketing for lawyers and for lenders who have $30,000 a month marketing budgets, right? The lawyer has a $300,000 marketing budget. So when you have these massive budgets, then you're getting into the technicalities of sort of managing large budget campaigns. But the point is, if you were to put that entire budget into a single campaign, you can pay $500 for a lead, right? Because that's very arbitrary and random, the number. I'm not telling the real number. But let's just assume that you can pay $500 per lead because you put your whole large budget in there. If we were to break that down into a smaller budget for the campaign and say $5,000, now Google's giving you leads for half the price, for $250, right? And they're talking about lawyers. So if we're talking about nannies, my presumption that you're more in a $30 to $100 bracket for a lead. Okay. And thus, what you would do is say, if you're starting out with a $5,000 budget, when you build out the campaign, if you do it yourself, you will see you can play with the nodules. I'm not going to say it. You can adjust the settings and say, okay, my budget is. They do it weekly. If you're not good at math, they play with you. It's so annoying. When you're creating the campaigns, it's weekly, but your actual budgets are daily. But anyways, if my budget is $1,000 a week, then you'll see they'll give you an estimate. Cost per lead, $50. Then you say, no, my budget is $500 per week. Cost per lead, $30. No, my budget is $300 per week. Cost per lead, $20. So what's going to happen is when you have a bigger budget, they make you compete for the higher positions in the search. If your ad is coming out number 1 or number 2, you're typically paying more, and not always. There's variables here. I don't know how technical you guys want me to get. There's several variables in place. You can be paying less and still be number one. But if you're just starting out your campaign, you're probably paying more for those higher rankings. You're also getting more jump clicks because people who are lazy will click the first thing, which is most people, will click the first thing they see, and then the second thing as well, and just open a few things and then look at the ads. Whereas the person that clicks on the fourth ad has either already gone through that process or was the person who takes the time to read the actual ads and say which one makes the most sense to them. So you actually get higher quality, lower cost in the fourth position than you do in the first position. So it's one of those things you have to understand your objectives. If your objective is to build your brand, if your objective is to get impression share, maybe being in those positions is great, but you're going to pay more, generally speaking, not always, for those. To answer your question, I would say figure out what your overall budget is, and then half it initially. Get the lower cost leads because there's so many other variables. Like you get the leads, but now you have to sell them, right? And are you good at sales right now? I don't know. Do you have a multi-part sales sequence put in place? I don't know. But if you don't, then you give yourself time to go through that process before you ramp up.
What efforts can I use organically for Google to boost, to complement my Google ad spend?
I like that. Okay, so this is cool. A couple months ago, I went through the process of analyzing performance for my clients over the course of several years of data. So I told you a landing page is designed the way it is to give people one choice, two choices technically, fill out the form or leave, right? And so that theory and in practice produces higher conversion rates. But what I actually found was that landing pages blow most clients' websites out of the way. But if your website has extensive blog content, your website will probably outperform a landing page. So that's what I found in the data. I literally just updated my own services because I was designing my own marketing strategy. But it was completely selfish. I was going through all this data for me, right? Because for my own marketing strategy for 2024, it's like what worked the best across all clients. And what worked the best was a combination of paid ads, 2 landing pages for a website that had content, that had extensive content. And so if you combine blog content on your website, particularly if you use video, different conversation, but particularly if you have video included in that as well, you combine that blog content with the landing page process, the performance is outrageous. I mean, so what's happening is, when I sort of have to think it through, right? What occurs is that a percentage of people will fill out your form on your landing page. That might be 20% of people, which is a crazy great conversion rate, right? Will fill out your form. But 50% of people are going to leave no matter what. Okay, fine. What happens to those other 30% though, right? If 20% fill it out, then 80% left. But if you had content as well, 20% filled it out, 50% left, and 30% went and looked for answers to their questions in your blog. Found that you gave them the answers and then filled it out, right? So a percentage of them, not all of them, but a percentage of them became leads at some point. So that's what made the performance jump dramatically, is that there's a percentage that's not served by the landing page that is served by content. Right? They need to be nurtured more and they want to self-nurture. And so you get the conversion. So the combination of those, long answer. Content,
but that's not an embedded link, is it, on that landing page, right? Because you still want to keep it the 1 or 2 decisions. They still have to open up a new web page, go to your website, and go to your blog resources. Or so
I've done testing with this. Yeah, I've done testing with this. It's a case-by-case basis. Okay. But there are circumstances in which I will put the client's main header into the landing page. So it's the same page, except instead of just the logo header, if they have great content that I'm seeing is engaging, I'll put their header into the landing page.
Great.
Technically, it's breaking rules. It's no longer technically a landing page, but the job is to make people money.
That's right. Thanks, Jay. Appreciate you.
Of course. Pleasure.
Marilyn, you want to ask your question, dear? It's a good one.
So I already have, okay, so my question is, if I already have a website, do I have to pay for a service such as, and not necessarily this one, but ClickFunnels and an email marketing program, or can my lead magnet or landing page direct my customers directly into my CRM where I already have lead nurture emails set up and they're ready to be triggered by whatever status the customer comes in on?
Option number 2.
Whoop,
I used
whoop.
to do that too. I used to build unbound landing pages for clients, and they're paying $250 a month for that. And there's all
Yeah,
these other. You pay $1,000 a month for I'm not going to name all these different funnel software, right? And I was like, well, I could just build it straight into WordPress,
exactly. And
right?
I have a WordPress site.
Right, exactly. So I found that is the better option, honestly. In my perspective, it's slightly different because I have to serve a variety of clients in a variety of circumstances. And thus, I need something that's really versatile, right? And so WordPress through Elementor is extremely versatile. You can integrate directly into your CRM with the web forms, whether you're using MailChimp, GetResponse, HubSpot, whatever it is, Salesforce, which you're probably not using because of the cost. But my point is that it's option number two. For me, hands down. I stopped using those landing page builders. I can build a landing page within WordPress. I can build a landing page in Squarespace if I need to, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm dealing with a company right now that has trained my VA, my virtual assistant, how to do that with ClickFunnels and how to do it with MailChimp or whatever. And I don't really need either one. I've got it all set up in my CRM already. I just need to get them into my CRM.
So then the one concern you'll have is does your CRM integrate smoothly? But that's the main thing you're thinking about. So that might be a Zapier situation where you build out a link between your CRM, ZAPIER.com.
Yeah, I know what Zapier is, but what am I making it compatible with?
With the web form, right? So there's a form in your landing page, right? This landing page, for example, is not working with this pop-up? Is that why? Well, that's okay. This is the payment page. And if I go back to the original landing page, which I can't because the upper portion of my computer is blocked off by the call. So forgive me, but you guys have the landing page. When you popped up that form has pre-built in integration options because it's an Elementor form. So there's some services like MailChimp, for example, I can very easily integrate that form with. If you're active campaigns, I can very easily integrate that form with active campaigns pre-built in. But if your CRM is not is not in the list of included applications that can be integrated with easily, then you have to create a webhook. We can get into it, but you have to create a webhook, or you have to use something like Zapier to sync the two, so that when the person fills out the form, their information gets pushed into your CRM and triggers whatever workflow you have in place.
Okay. And can you name those two programs? You said Element something, and what was the other one?
Elementor is, if you have a WordPress website, there's a high probability that you actually have an Elementor website. ELEMENTOR.
Okay.
Elementor is the website builder, and thus you probably already have that if you have a WordPress website.
Okay.
It's the #1 website builder for WordPress, and I think the #1 website builder, period. But yeah.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Jay, you were just so full of knowledge, and it is already 3 o'clock, which is just nuts to me. I think we're going to have you come back because I have to rewatch this whole thing to take more copious notes. Thank goodness for Fathom, right? Marilyn agrees. I mean, the man is just brilliant. But we discussed this, ladies, in the Marketing That Works webinar, making those lead magnets, right? And so it's all kind of flowing together. And then Jay, we would love for you to share on your return, right, some little secrets once we've done this part. But I think you've had a special offer for the ladies. If you want to show that, I'll also put it in the chat, but would definitely love for you to share that with them if they're interested in using your services to do all of this.
Very good. So I told you early on, you need to make an offer that's difficult to say no to. That's really important. My offer is very simple. I'll manage your Google Ads for free for 30 days. It's difficult to say no. You can say no, but it's typically difficult. If you like the service after 30 days, then I will actually implement the full funnel for you at discounted pricing, which you can see in the landing page. Plain and simple.
Nice. I will add that to the recording and the chat feature for everyone, so they can take a look at it.
Megan, 3 people. This is free. I mean, I don't know how big your audience is, so I can't do this for everybody. This is like the first 3 people type of thing.
Oh,
so is that killing it for you guys? I don't want to. I hope I'm not hurting anybody, but I also
no. There's only one of you. You've got your assistant, but that's not the same, right? So I totally get it. Our audience is pretty big. There's almost 100 of us. but everybody's kind of at different places in their business
So
and what they want to promote. And Jackie,
I would do the first 3 people each month until we're done. How about that?
yeah, I mean, Jay, I think once you start working with the community and they start seeing the differences, they're going to share, and that's how it goes from there.
Yeah.
And I also think it's sometimes hard for us as owners to understand all that's put into this.
Okay.
So he's saying it depends on which one it is, but you get the funnels, the email drip, the content marketing, like all that's included.
Oh, so I should walk you through this. I make a lot of presumptions. My apologies. So
Um,
if you want me to just build your funnel, so I have 3 services basically that I offer, and basically they're tiered based on where a person is, where their business is, right? Because obviously, if you're investing long term, you're a larger company, you have a larger budget, so on and so forth. If you're a small company, you may not have a monthly budget at all, right? So the way I've structured this is I have a self-managed option, which means I'll build out your marketing funnel, I'll set up your Google Ads campaign, I'll design your landing page, I'll integrate your CRM or whatever your email software is, hopefully MailChimp, but if not, we'll get it done. I'll write your 3-part email sequence. I'll build the entire funnel, and it's a one-time fee, right? So that's if you're just starting out, you just pay the one-time fee. I build it, and then you manage it. And this is the kicker. And when I say manage it, I mean you're basically managing the Google Ad campaign that I set up for you. You let data collect. You prove that you're getting the leads. Because when you're small businesses, I've learned this over the years. I've been doing this for 15 years. And you want to assume that people know how to sell and close the leads. It's not necessarily true, right? So what I've learned is that when a person's just starting out with marketing, if they don't fully understand, they're not sophisticated in marketing yet, it's better to build the funnel, spend your money on the ads, actually driving traffic to the funnel, get the leads and be like, oh my God, calling leads sucks. Oh my God, I got to sell. Go through that process. Like, oh my God, this is the wording that made that sale close, etc. You go through that process, but you're not paying a marketing manager every month while you're learning that. If you are more advanced, you're sort of past that point, you have a sales sequence that works, then you're choosing one of the other 2 packages. You're either choosing a 2 marketing funnel package, which is the most popular package, because most people simply they have 1 or 2 top performing services that they offer, and they need to drive as many leads as possible, high quality leads within their funnel. That's the most popular option. And you can see here at the discounted rate of $2,000 per month for the management, plus you have to have your ads budget. And then the last one is if you're really trying to crush it. It's the strategy that I'm putting together and implementing for myself based on all the data that I analyzed. Literally just created this plan. I did it for myself, but then said, okay, well, not wise not to offer to clients. This is really what, if I were to show you, I don't know if I can show you. If I were to show you the results that this produces, it's kind of absurd. Can you see this? I don't want to take too much of you guys' time. I got all these screens in my face. So this is the plan that I'm implementing for myself based on performance for clients. I don't even know which one of these to walk you through, so let's just go into it. Can you see this? So $2,500 we spent, 6,000 impressions. This might have been a larger client. So this one got 47 leads at a cost of 50 leads per pop. I think this is a client who makes about, can you scale my business? I have money spending. Yep. Yeah, so this is a real estate based client. This guy makes $3,000 to $5,000 per conversion, spending $50 per lead. It's absolutely absurd. Let me go to another. I have all this. I have to move this stuff around.
What's the cost of the self-managed option?
$3,000 after the discount. Now I'm opening these and they're popping up at the same time. You can't see this, can you?
Not really. It's teeny.
I don't know why I did that. Let's close this one. If you get to see this, how do I zoom in? Because this is highly relevant to you. This is a similar industry to you guys. And this is a big client. Don't get me wrong. Okay. You can't see the whole thing at once. We'll figure it out. I'll figure out how to make this enlarged at some point. 369 leads. You can see the date here. This is January. This is the month of January of this year. 369 leads at a cost of $34 per lead. This person makes thousands of dollars per conversion. This client is one of the clients who has the combined service, right? Where I actually wrote the blog content for them and then built that whole system where they have the landing pages plus the blog content. They're now the largest agency in the state of California, at least in Southern California for sure. I think in the entire state of California. I can't even tell you the amount of money that they're making. This strategy just, when you combine the content, it drives organic traffic, right? So they're getting more traffic from the articles than they get from the paid ads. This is just their paid ads leads. I blurred out their, you can't see there, good. So this is just their paid ads leads, but they're getting more from the organic content funneled to these landing pages. And then it all plays off itself, like I told you. Some people convert right away, but other people read the articles. I just logged in the other day. I got like 200 comments I have to go through. Read the articles and then come back and convert. And it just creates that cycle. So that's what the center plan is, but it's for companies that have a budget, right? So that company is they're spending a good amount of money. They're a large client. And so if you have the budget, then it makes sense to build the entire system. But most people start here with the 2 marketing plan or with the self-managed plan where I build a funnel. You let the ads run. You're not paying monthly for management. Once the data's in there, you can say, Jay, optimize it, analyze it, make me more money, build the whole funnel, revamp the whole funnel. We do that. But it saves money in the meantime. A lot of words again. Bottom line is 30 days free. Just get in there, manage it, and I'll prove that I'll get you guys leads. You will get leads, but I don't know if you'll sell. And that's the reason that I said I better make it free. Because some of you will need time to make sure you can close the deals.
Well, we appreciate it so much, and we will make sure to share this. We'll get you to come back. Once everybody watches the replay, we'll collect some more questions and send those your way too, if that's okay.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Well, guys, thank you so much for being here. Jay, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, and we're just really honored to have the opportunity and chance to work with you. And thanks, guys. I look forward to seeing you. Everybody's saying thank you in the chat. And just let me know what questions you have for Jay. I will post his replay and Podia along with his contact information, his awesome offer for the first few folks. And then get him back here soon, because if y'all are wanting to manage it once he sets it up for you, we need to learn a little bit more about that, don't you think? But this is not something we're just going to throw together overnight, ladies. It is definitely intentional and definitely works if you do it right. But you can waste a lot of money if you do it wrong, which is the last thing I want from you to do. So thanks again for being here, and we will see you soon.